everybody. Welcome into Folklore and Flourish. You're here with Jane and Mark. It is June 27th today. So we are outside today because the topic is the night song and our theme is reflection. Our lesson for today is the darkness teaches gently, and our 4 stories come from Japanese, Greek, Persian, and Lakota folklore today. So today our question that we're going to think about is, what did night show me? So what did night show me? We're going to think about that today. And then we're going to sit quietly as the light fades, allowing shadows to lengthen without interruption. So watching the shadows lengthen a little bit today. Maybe do that tomorrow since we're outside during nighttime. But we're going to honor what was revealed in stillness by carrying it forward without forcing clarity. So that's what we're talking about today. Did you have anything you wanted to talk about?
I kind of like that, like when you said without forcing clarity. It's definitely something that I try to find myself doing every once in a while. It's almost like that when you give the saying of when you give advice, it's none of your business about whatever. It's almost like the same thing as like when you're doing something, it's almost like that giving away the expectation of what's going to happen from doing whatever it is that you're doing and just allow it to happen. I think that's kind of, yeah. Well, there's
That's
Molly.
Molly.
She's breaking out of the house right now.
Let me go grab her.
We have one of the windows open and she is now
Pause up, sweetheart.
broken through the screen
Pause up.
to come outside where we're at because we're right outside.
Here,
That is the
sweetheart.
moon. I hear it's the moon. The moon. Yes, that's
I'm
dirt.
too short if you're playing around.
The tractor's not here anymore, but I've been doing work redoing
Pause
this
up,
yard,
baby.
so it's nice.
You're okay. Your
And you
mama's
get to-
got you.
All that fun stuff. So Molly wanted to join the podcast so bad. She's like, you can't just go outside and expect me not to be on the podcast.
So she's kind of tweaking, even though she yelled at us.
Yeah.
Because now she's here and now she wants to go back inside. It's too late.
It's too late. I got you.
So,
like you were saying, like with the biggest, the thing with that is to not force clarity, right? So when you get, sometimes when I get a message for something, I want to know exactly what it means, but sometimes it's better that you don't, like you're not supposed to. So by it saying don't force clarity, that means let it come. Yes, sometimes there are things that you got to go figure out. But I think you should know if you're kind of getting open with energy, stuff like that. If and when you're trying to quote unquote force the clarity of whatever the situation is, and it just doesn't feel right, or things just keep going wrong, or whatever it is, that's when you could probably take the stop, or that's when I do take the stop and be like, okay, I don't need to know whatever it is. It must have to come later. And that's just what I picked up from what you said with the don't force clarity, and don't feel bad if you don't understand certain messages that you might be getting. I'm assuming quite a few with the stories. I didn't get to hear them today yet, but with the stories of looking at the sky, that's why we're doing it. You might see something in the sky. People saw it, and it took them a long time to get that clarity, I would imagine, before they truly understood what they were looking at.
yeah, the stories are pretty interesting today because it's not just like understanding the night sky, right? That's our last story is star knowledge and that, but we get to see the moon in love with somebody. We get to see somebody obsessed with the moon. And what's cool is that they never interact.
Haven't we
They
had
never
stories
touch.
kind of like that? Well, I guess we would have, but
It's
you said
the
these were
moon
4
is
new
very-
ones, right?
Yeah, the moon is very connected to longing. And we have one today with the nightingale, and its love for something comes up in the summer months or spring and summer, and it's during the daytime. But the nightingale it loves this one thing so much that it sings for it, and then it waits night after night after night until it comes back.
Wow.
Just so it can see it again. So we're looking at the beauty of a lot of things today. So the star knowledge and stuff, but also the beauty of the moon itself and what it represents, as well as who it represents. And then we also have one where we get to see a moon deity that's very captivated with somebody. She never speaks to him. He's just in endless sleep. And she just visits him every single night just to look upon him. And she's like the goddess of the moon. So we
Yeah.
get to see that. And then we get to see somebody who is in love with the splendor of the moon and how astonishing it is and how beautiful it is. And then he gets to see a reflection of the full moon and it looks like they're almost twins. And
Wow.
like, it's just like being in that moment and seeing it and
I would
stuff.
love to know how to record to where we can get that because, like, I'm looking at the reflection from our window and it's pretty full, that moon, and it is bright. Like, I can see the reflection
Yeah, I can see
from where
two
I'm at.
moons.
And I'm
In my
looking in it. Yeah,
reflection
I
though,
can see two as well.
one's yellow and one's white.
Yep. Yep. That looks pretty neat. Well, they're both kind of white from where I'm at, but the one is definitely way more.
Like cream, and the other
Yeah.
one's like eggshell white.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, that would be cool to have it recorded on there. But it's cool that all the stories are about the moon. We watched a movie about the moon today.
Yeah, I finally saw the movie Moonfall.
And what did you think of that?
I really liked it. I liked the actors and actresses in
Mhm.
it. I don't know a whole bunch of the actors and actresses in it, but I liked the two main characters.
Mm.
And I really liked it because I think it's just another movie where they're telling you exactly what's happening. Yeah, there may be a few things off, but
Mhm.
that's how you get the public to not recognize. Like it's a movie that I'm gonna put right next to V for Vendetta.
Yeah.
Like, it's one of my favorites. I knew that, like, about 15 minutes in, I knew kinda where it was going, what was gonna happen to the
Moonfall or
guy.
V Vendetta?
Moonfall.
Oh, okay.
Not like the complexity of the science fiction stuff, because I was
Right.
never into science fiction really like that, I guess.
Mhm.
But, like, just, like, when you know and you see stuff and to just, "Oh, no, well, we've been studying this forever, right? So we know more." Well, okay, I saw it. Like, I knew what was gonna happen to his career.
Yeah.
I knew it
Right.
because she was put in an impossible situation. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think she made a terrible choice, but that's because I had friends in that situation that made the same choice and chose their lifeline, their job
That's the
over
thing is
friends.
so many people do get upset about that, and there is a part where there is integrity to it, but at the same time is if you she truly didn't know,
And that
but
was
she
an
should have
impossible situation,
she
though.
should have been like, "I trust my friend," because that is crazy, like, would he have ever made a story up like that? But it's that thing where put your mask on first.
Mhm.
Like, if she doesn't know, she doesn't I'm sorry, I don't
Right.
know. Like, you could have kinda went cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs up there, who knows? Because what you're saying does not sound real. And then they knew, so she didn't know they knew. At the same time, I think once you come into the realization of knowing and take it with grace and a little bit of
But it's
knock your pride
also
down.
like it's an impossible situation, but it also, I mean, it's like what Keanu Reeves, I don't know how to say his name, when he says, when someone shows you that you aren't a priority, thank them. There
Yeah,
are billions of people in this world, and they are saying, don't waste your time on me,
exactly.
and it doesn't have to be bad, but like asking those amazing women to sacrifice their job
Right.
when like they had babies on the way, several of them, and others just struggling, with their own family stuff. And I don't, yeah, it sucks because that's kind of gone, but it was kind of, I wasn't a priority,
Mhm.
And so you kind of get to look at it and go, there's nothing you can do about it. You
Right.
can't go back to the friendship really, because I don't think that we need to always go back, like rush back. Oh, well, we were such meaningful friends, or we were childhood friends, like, or work friends, or whatever it may be. Like, I think we just gotta, it's okay to keep moving
Mm.
forward and to love people, even though, like, that situation. Love them, wish them all the best. Do I wanna sit in a room? Probably not. I could, but, like, if it came up,
Yeah,
I'd share it, and I know that they'd share it, I know it would suck.
right.
You just, like, watch those stories, and we always root for them, right? But we don't root for our neighbor or our sibling or our teacher who went through the same thing.
Mhm.
Yeah, we wanna be the heroes in everyone's story, but we only cheer them on if they're on the big screen, you know?
Right.
And so I really liked it, not because I think all of it was fact or anything like that. Do I think some of it was? Yeah, I think, like I said, it's another movie like V for Vendetta. I mean, it was in 2001. They said they were going to come out with the virus to control everyone.
Right.
I mean, and that virus was supposed to come out in 2020. I mean, like,
Right.
so it's just like another hard kind of reality is that people all see it happening and they will only come back and say that they're wrong
If they're made to
if
say
they're
that.
forced to.
Right.
There is no one else. And that's why I liked it, because she was put in that kind of impossible situation. But then at the end, when she's like, I'm going to bring you home, like she got to realize
He did that.
the exact way he had felt fear and all this stuff, but it's on you now. And now this is where he was. It was just about getting me home.
Yeah.
And that's the thing too, is how do you document when you're concerned about the well-being of others? Like, as well as you can document, these days they say document, document, document. I know from firsthand experience, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't matter. And then you get to see stuff like that. And it's like, oh, well, if you would have documented to prove it,
They just hide
at the cost of another person's life. Like, I just watched my friend die. But to corporations, yes, at the cost of your friend's life.
Well, yeah, for
It
sure.
could be the
'cause they
cost
don't,
of your spouse or your child's life. Like, you'll do it for
the big ones. Yeah. They don't like we were talking about that spot, right? Where the place that runs it is nowhere near here and they really don't care what happens.
No.
They don't. And it's the same thing for what you're talking about. You could put that into any situation and be like, that's the way we've allowed as a society for people to treat people, for companies to treat us. And it starts with us to being like, no, you can't do that anymore. But it has to be like a big thing. And I think they say like 1% of the population, which is a lot of people, has to make this big energetic shift in order to make a big change. And that will actually start changing everybody else. Just for one person changing, one person can change another with changing another by just the energy alone. And I believe that's a big part of like our society. We need to move that direction.
What's just frustrating is how many people are trying to stop it. Like in that movie Today and every other single movie. And not true. That's not true. Because I want to say that, but I'm sitting here thinking about this movie and how he goes, yeah, we knew. Like I said, documentation doesn't matter. They know.
Yeah.
They know what they're doing. They know the lies. They know the reputations that they're giving you. They know that you're destroyed.
Yeah.
Going through emotional, mental turmoil. And it was about money.
Yeah.
And people were like, no, I wouldn't do that. You do it everywhere. People do it for $5. Like an extra $200 a day. They would sell out someone that they loved and adored.
I know people from that allegedly did some things that like work in a place where I work for money, like for extra money. And it's so sad because they've done it in so many different ways, whether it doesn't matter which way they did it, but they did it wrongfully. And it's sad at what we would do and what we put as priorities.
So you have that because we could go down that.
Yeah, I mean,
really
you can so many.
So you have that, but then you have the flip side of the people that I think are just as bad. I mean, my opinion of Captain America. I think that some of these heroes we've been told to adore growing up, they're heroes we root for. And that's why I said not all movies, because I love the trend that people are starting to come forward and be like, I don't think these heroes are the heroes. Because every villain's the one that's trying to help and move forward and thinking about the next generation. And then I'm saying Captain America because, yeah, they didn't want the population, whatever. I mean, our governments do it all the time. But okay, if it's an alien race, we don't want to do it. But then the arrogance of we're protecting everybody by keeping them in the dark. No, you're not.
No, that is a big...
Because the second they did it to him, he got to break all the rules and screwed his friends for someone that was a childhood friend. Like, that's what I mean.
Right.
Because of this loyalty I had back then. Yeah, no, I totally get it. And then I don't have a right to be upset. That's why I love the Iron Man character so much.
Yeah.
Because everyone constantly complains. Should he listen to everybody? No, he gets stuff done. But then the second that he's doing what he's supposed to be, people get upset with him, and they turn on him.
Yeah, as soon as the danger is over, then they're like, "Oh, well, you did it bad." Well,
Right.
you didn't do anything.
And I'm trying to save it so none of us go to prison, none of us are, like, put in a lab. You hit the fact that your friend killed my parents.
Yeah.
And had that come forward and had that been he was whatever, that's a very different story. You knew and you tried to protect me. Like that mentality of people. Oh, well, you just don't understand. So I'm trying to protect you. Then enlighten me,
Yeah.
teach me. Every single person that says that has the inability to teach you what they're talking about.
Right. That makes sense.
Anybody that says you just don't understand and you can't teach me. And that's 100% what my principal was like.
Yeah.
Because you can't teach me.
Yeah.
And so we watch all of these and we get to see some today where it is beautiful when no one can mess, with the things you adore, with your passions.
Right.
When it's just left to you and your love for it and your care for it, it's kind of beautiful. So that's what we get to focus on today. And then we get to think about what did the night show me? What did night show me?
Yeah. I should have turned that yard light off. We might have been able to see a little bit brighter, but it's all good.
No, but it's just bright.
They got to see the moon move from like here to there. So that's fun.
Yeah. And so we have the full moon in a couple of days, but yeah, that's all I have for tonight. I would say
Awesome.
watch Moonfall. I really liked it.
Yeah, it's a good movie.
And if you haven't seen V for Vendetta,
That's another good one.
yeah. I wonder how many people watched that and saw COVID and were aware of that at the time. I didn't watch it until after.
No kidding.
No, I was I think everything was planned. And then that's when my friend was like, wait, do you not know? And that's when he put all that stuff on my computer. He showed me that movie and I was like, this is my favorite movie. But yeah, but then, yeah, it's a same cycle, a new life form. Honestly.
History repeats itself.
But with that, have a great rest of your night. We're going to try to get this episode posted. Yesterday's is still being difficult.
I can't believe it still won't post.
It failed 3 times and I had to make a new copy of it and try some other things and hopefully it will work. And then this one will as well. But
yeah, it'll work and you'll see it a little bit late, but we appreciate you for watching. So thank you so much.
Yes. And make sure you go see the night sky,
Yeah, go look outside.
But we'll see you guys tomorrow.
See you guys. Love you.
Before we begin, I want to take a moment to honor the cultures behind the stories we are about to explore. The tales shared here come from many peoples, lands, and traditions. I do not change these stories to fit modern expectations or to align with today's social standards. Instead, I present them as they were told, sometimes beautiful, sometimes harsh, sometimes challenging. We are not here to judge the past, but to understand it, to listen, to learn, and to honor the ancestors who carried these stories forward. We also share stories from various religious traditions. These are presented in their historical and spiritual context, with respect for their beliefs that they represent. Every culture deserves respect, context, and acknowledgement, and this space is dedicated to doing exactly that. Story 1. The Moon Poet and the Silent Lake. Long ago in Japan, when poets wandered the countryside seeking beauty in mountains, rivers, and changing seasons, there lived a poet who was known for his devotion to the moon. While many admired the brightness of spring mornings or the splendor of blooming cherry trees, he found himself drawn to quieter hours. He believed that the night revealed truths that daylight often concealed beneath its noise and activity. One autumn evening, the poet set out alone toward a lake nestled along low hills. The harvest had already been gathered, and a cool wind moved gently through the reeds that lined the shoreline. Above him stretched a sky of remarkable clarity. The moon hung high and luminous, casting silver light across the landscape. Every stone, tree, and blade of grass seemed transformed beneath its glow. When he reached the lake, the poet paused. The water lay perfectly still, reflecting the moon so clearly that it appeared there were two moons, one above and one below. He sat beside the shore and watched the reflection shimmer softly whenever the breeze disturbed the surface. For a long while he remained silent, listening to the sounds of the night. Crickets sang from the grasses, and distant water birds called across the darkness. As the hours passed, thoughts that had troubled him during the day slowly began to settle. Concerns about reputation, success, and the opinions of others seemed less important beneath the vast sky. The moon asked nothing of him. The lake demanded no answers. Surrounded by stillness, he found himself observing his own heart more honestly than he had in many months. At one point, a fish rose briefly from the depths and disturbed the reflection. Ripples spread across the water, breaking the moon into fragments of light, yet the moon itself remained unchanged above. Watching the imagery form as the water grew calm once more, the poet felt he had witnessed something meaningful. Human thoughts and emotions could become troubled and confused, just as the lake's surface could be disturbed. Yet beneath those temporary disruptions, deeper truths remained unchanged. The moon continued its journey across the heavens while the poet remained beside the shore. Eventually, the eastern horizon began to pale with the first sign of dawn. Reluctantly, he rose to leave. Before departing, he composed a short poem honoring the night's lesson and tucked it into his sleeve. When he returned home, friends asked what wisdom he had discovered during his solitary journey. The poet merely smiled. He spoke little of the experience, believing that some lessons cannot be fully explained. They had to be encountered directly, beneath the quiet sky, beside still water, while the moon illuminated both the world and the heart. For generations, stories and poems such as these became part of Japan's rich tradition of moon viewing, reminding listeners that reflection often flourishes in silence and that the night possesses its own gentle form of wisdom. Story 2: Endymion and the Moon Goddess. In the hills of ancient Greece, where shepherds guided their flocks beneath open skies and the stars shone brightly above the mountains, there lived a youth named Endymion. He was renowned for his extraordinary beauty, and many stories were told about him throughout the land. Some said he was a shepherd, while others claimed he was a prince or hunter. Yet all agreed that his appearance was remarkable enough to draw the attention of the divine. Among those that beheld him was Selene, goddess of the moon. Each night she drove her silver chariot across the heavens, guiding the moon along its appointed course. From high above the world she observed seas, forests, mountains, and cities. During one of her journeys, her gaze fell upon Endymion as he rested upon a hillside beneath the stars. The sight captivated her. Night after night she returned to watch him sleeping beneath the moonlight. The peaceful shepherd seemed untouched by the struggles and ambitions that troubled so many mortals. While kingdoms rose and fell and generations passed, Endymion rested quietly beneath the glow of the heavens. According to the most famous versions of the tale, Zeus granted Endymion an unusual gift. He would remain forever youthful, untouched by age and decay. Yet the blessing came with a condition. Endymion would spend his days in eternal sleep, suspended between waking and dreaming. Hidden within a cave or secluded grove, depending on the telling, he would never know the passing of years. Each night Selene descended from the sky to visit him. Leaving her celestial path for a time, she would step softly into the place where he rested. Moonlight filled the chamber around him, illuminating his face with a gentle radiance. Though Endymion slept, the goddess remained beside him, gazing upon the beauty that had first captured her heart. As centuries passed, the world beyond continued to change. Cities were built and abandoned. Kings ruled and disappeared into memory. Generations lived entire lives beneath the moon's glow. Yet Endymion remained unchanged, preserved within his endless slumber. Whenever travelers passed near the sacred place where he rested, stories spread of the sleeping youth watched over the moon herself. The tale endured because it united two mysteries that fascinated the ancient Greeks: the beauty of the moon and the passing of time. Looking upward at Selene's nightly journey, people remembered the shepherds who slept forever beneath her watchful gaze. The moon continued crossing the heavens just as it always had, carrying with it memories of a love that stretched across the ages. Thus, Endymion became forever linked with the night sky. His story survived in poetry, art, and myth, where moonlight, dreams, and timeless beauty remained woven together beneath the silver glow of Selene's eternal path. Story 3, The Nightingale and the Rose. In the gardens of ancient Persia, where cypress trees cast long shadows across marble pathways and fountains sang softly beneath the stars, people often spoke of the nightingale and the rose. Their story was told by poets, musicians, and storytellers for generations, becoming one of the most beloved images in Persian literature. Each spring, when the first rose began to bloom, the nightingale returned to the gardens. During the long winter months, the bushes had stood bare and silent, but now fresh blossoms opened beneath the warming sun. Their fragrance drifted through the air, filling the gardens with sweetness. The nightingale searched eagerly among the flowering branches until at last it found the rose. The blossom stood radiant among the leaves, its petals glowing softly in the morning light. From the moment the bird beheld the flower, it became captivated. Perching nearby, the nightingale began to sing. Day after day, the bird returned to the rose. Its songs echoed through the gardens at dawn and continued into the quiet hours of evening. The melodies spoke of admiration, longing, and devotion. Travelers resting beneath the trees often paused to listen, marveling at the beauty of the music drifting through the air. Yet the rose remained silent. The flower did not answer the bird's songs. It simply continued to bloom beneath the sun, opening its petals a little farther each day. Sometimes the nightingale wondered whether the rose even heard its music. Still, it continued singing, unable to abandon the object of its affection. As the season advanced, the garden reached the height of its beauty. Roses filled every pathway with color, and the songs of countless birds mingled among the branches. Yet even in the abundance, the nightingale remained devoted to the single blossom. Its melodies grew richer and more heartfelt, carrying emotions that seemed too vast for words alone. Then, gradually, the season began to change. The days softened, petals loosened from their stems and drifted upon the wind. One by one, the blossoms that had filled the garden began to fade. The nightingale watched as the rose it loved slowly lost its beauty. Its vibrant colors softened, its petals fell. At last, only a few remained. The bird sang through its transformation as faithfully as it had sung during the flower's glory. It remained beside the rose even as autumn approached and the gardens grew quiet. When the final petals finally fell, the nightingale's song echoed through the empty branches. Winter eventually settled over the land. The roses disappeared and the garden slept beneath cold skies. Yet the nightingale did not despair. It remembered that spring would come again. Hidden beneath the earth, life still endured. Though beauty faded, it was never truly lost. When the first warmth of a new spring returned, fresh buds appeared once more among the branches. Seeing them, the nightingale lifted its voice again. Its song filled the garden just as it always had, celebrating the return of beauty in the endless cycle of longing, loss, remembrance, and renewal. Thus, the nightingale and the rose became enduring symbols within Persian poetry, their story carried across generations through countless songs and verses. Story 4, Following the Stars. Long before roads crossed the plains and before towns marked the horizon, the Lakota people traveled beneath vast skies that seemed to stretch endlessly in every direction. During the day, they followed rivers, hills, and familiar landmarks. At night, they looked upward, where countless stars shone across the darkness like a great celestial campfire spread above the world. Among the Lakota, the night sky was not merely decoration. It was a source of knowledge, guidance, and memory. Elders taught that the stars carried stories that connected the people to the world around them and to those who had come before. One winter evening, after a successful hunt, a family gathered beside a fire while cold winds swept across the prairie. Above them, the sky was clear and brilliant. Thousands of stars glittered against the darkness. The children watched in wonder as their grandfather pointed toward the heavens. He began showing them the familiar patterns known to their people. Some stars marked the passing of seasons. Others helped travelers find their direction when crossing great distances. Still, others carried stories that explained important relationships between people, animals, and the world. The children listened carefully as their elder spoke. He explained that the stars remained dependable even when circumstances on Earth changed. Storms might come and go, camps might move from one place to another, herds might travel across the plains, yet the stars return each night, offering guidance to those who know how to read them. As the evening deepened, the elder told the travelers who had safely crossed vast stretches of land by following celestial markers. He described hunters who understood when seasons were changing by observing the positions of certain stars. Knowledge of the sky allowed people to move confidently through a world that could otherwise seem immense and uncertain. The children soon noticed something else. The stories were not only about navigation or survival, they were also about belonging. Every constellation connected human life to the larger rhythm of creation. Looking upward reminded people that they were part of something far greater than themselves. Hours passed as the fire cracked softly beside them. Eventually, the youngest child asked why the elders continued teaching these stories generation after generation. The grandfather smiled and looked toward the stars before answering. "If you know where to look," he said, "the sky will help you remember who you are." The children followed his gaze. Above them, the stars shone quietly across the darkness, just as they had for countless generations. Though the night seemed vast, it no longer felt empty. It felt alive with memory, wisdom, and connection. For generations afterward, elders continued sharing this knowledge beneath the open sky. In this way, the stars became more than lights in the darkness. They became teachers, guiding people through both the physical world and the deeper journey of understanding their place within it. Daily Thread for June 27th, The Night Song. The oldest stories often place their deepest lessons in the quietest hours. Daylight is filled with responsibilities, movement, decisions, and distractions. But night invites a different kind of attention. Beneath the stars, people throughout history have paused long enough to notice what the noise of the day concealed. Poets watched the moon reflecting upon still water. Shepherds studied the heavens while tending their flocks. Travelers navigated by constellations, and storytellers passed wisdom from one generation to the next beneath open skies. Darkness has frequently been misunderstood as emptiness, yet many traditions viewed it as a place of revelation. It is in silence that reflection becomes possible. It is in stillness that questions emerge. The nightingale sings not because it has found every answer, but because it remains present to beauty even when beauty proves temporary. The stars guide not because they remove uncertainty, but because they offer orientation within it. Across cultures, the night became a teacher that asked little and revealed much. It encouraged patience rather than urgency, observation rather than reaction, and wonder rather than certainty. Modern life often urges constant activity, yet the ancient stories remind us that growth does not occur only through action. Sometimes wisdom arrives through listening. Sometimes understanding appears when we stop trying to force it. The darkness does not always provide solutions, but it often creates the conditions where insight can finally be heard. What the night offers is not instruction shouted from above, but a quiet invitation to pay attention.